But wait, there's more. Welcome back, everyone. My name is LaughNgamez. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 a replay cast. And as I said, but wait, there's more. I just cast, the last game I cast for my channel was Innovation Serral. It was an amazing Terran versus Zerg. Super late game, super everything. And they played a best of 3. And not only did I hear that that one game was good, I heard that they played at least 2 epic Terran versus Zerg. So we've got ourselves what should be another sick match here. As I said, a TvZ, the map is Automaton spawning up in the top right-hand side of the map. It is Innovation. If you've followed pro StarCraft 2 in any capacity, you probably know who Innovation is. At least in the older days, just won a lot of GSLs. That's where he gained a lot of his notoriety. Never had the most success on like the biggest stage, like BlizzCon or anything like that, but he's won a lot of tournaments and other things like that. And in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's Serral. If you're following StarCraft 2 at all these days, this guy probably needs no introduction whatsoever, but as it's StarCraft 2, things are going to heat up. Let me just rally some things off. As you guys know, Serral, he is the best foreigner in the world, sort of broke the stigma that Koreans are the undisputed best always. Serral, people doubted him. Then he said, all right, I'll prove myself. And then they doubted him again. And then he's like, all right, I'll win another tournament or 2. And then they doubted him again. And then he won the world championship. And yeah, so he's just an incredibly great Zerg player, incredibly talented, and Innovation versus Serral, I heard, was an absolutely fantastic match. So we'll see how this one's gonna go. Now, as far as everything is concerned, I mean, it's a TvZ, standard build coming out of Innovation. Reaper first. Notable is the SCV scouting. Serral in this tournament, IEM, that's where this replay is from. Serral was going for a lot of early pools, I noticed, and some other Zergs were up to it too. So Innovation SCV scouting, I love it. I'm a big fan. If you don't SCV scout, can you really say, oh man, that aggressive build, it just really caught me off guard? You gotta SCV scout every now and then. Hold on, things are a little bit caught. There we go. Innovation's tab was just flashing all over the screen there. So anyway, as I said, Reaper expand for Innovation. He scouted to make sure he's not getting caught off guard by an early pool. And now it comes down to that Reaper Ling micro getting things started off. Someone like Serral shouldn't ever really lose a drone to a Reaper coming on in. Innovation probably doesn't expect to get a drone versus Serral. Maybe kill a Ling, something like that. For now, though, just the Reaper doing its most important job, scouting out. Back on Innovation's side of the map, the Terran player, he's got that reactor up. He's made 2 Marines, and then he's got his factory on the way. And the reason for this is that Innovation's actually going for one of the older builds in TvZ. He's going to be going for a 2-1-1 versus this Zerg player. And now the 2-1-1, for those of you that don't know, basically it means 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport with a stim rush. So basically 16 Marines coming out of 2 medivacs. That's basically the best way to sum it up. The Terran's going to rush their best upgrade stim pack, and then they're going to drop a lot of Marines on the Zerg side of the map, start pressuring, start poking. Basically what this build does is that it gives the Terran a lot of mobility earlier than they're used to. It's a fair bit of a commitment, though, that considered stim is not cheap. Committing to this many Marines early on is not cheap. It's going to delay what could have been a quicker 3rd command center or something like that. Oh, I love this for Innovation, though, moving out with a couple of the Marines he made first. Going to be able to pick off this Overlord. Doing so, he does reveal that there's 5 Marines to Serral. However, Serral's not completely aware of what's coming his way. He doesn't know that a 2-1-1's on the way. And the reason why the 2-1-1, while it's sort of like a build that's been done to death, so to speak, it's a very interesting build just to see how players react to it, how they handle it exactly, because this is like one of the most thought out builds. It was very, very good earlier on when it first came around. Every Terran was doing it. It's like the new fad or whatever. And then eventually the Zergs figured it out. They figured out it's like, okay, gotta have 32 Lings, make sure our queens are in proper position to shut this down. And so that's exactly what the Zergs started doing. However, it's still a very good build. It's one of the best builds for Terran if you want to play that heavy drop aggressive style. However, it does have its weakness in which Zergs who shut it down can tend to sometimes just shut it down very, very hard. So this is an incredibly bold statement from Innovation, being like, yeah, I'm going to go for this heavy Marine drop style, and I'm going to outplay Serral. And we're about to find out if he's able to do that. So Innovation with 2 medivacs going to be moving across the map, committing to bio. Serral's probably more than well aware that this is coming his way. He just scouted those 2 medivacs. He saw all the extra Marines at first. So he's aware that this is that common 2-on-1 build. He's firing up a few more lings. Now, he's out on the map with his lings, looking for this. Look at that. Serral just scouting north, scouting everywhere. Not going to find these Marines just yet. However, we see he's been producing a few more Zerglings here. He's going to have around 32. Queen should be getting into position to deal with this. Innovation's now stimming on in, going to clean up some creep, but I'd be surprised if he finds too much more than that. Focuses down a queen, actually gets 2 queens. That's very nice. 3 queens. Okay, that's a lot of damage. No meme intended. Okay, so Innovation, basically what he does there is that he traded out 7 Marines and a Medivac for 4 queens. Now, that's a pretty darn good pick off there. Usually the queens will transfuse, but Serral didn't quite have that on point. He just came in, Innovation just charged right on it and showing no fear. Just focused down the queens. Lost one in the medivac, so of course it wasn't free. However, when we really analyze that trade, it would seem that that was pretty good for Innovation. It's going to massively delay Serral's creep spread. He's not going to be able to start any new fresh tumors, so if Innovation can shut down any of these extra tumors, that will be very, very nice for him. As this is going on, though, it's important to note Innovation's 3rd CC is delayed a little bit, whereas Serral, he's just had to delay his economy a little bit less than Innovation, since he just had to make that handful of lings to really shut it down. It's not like this was critical damage or anything, but here we see Innovation coming in, going to be cleaning up some creep. And Serral, I mean, he's had to replace some of these queens, so that's just been a bit of a nuisance for him. As this is going on, Innovation, he's getting up his 1-1, the standard follow-up to 2-1-1, in which you sort of keep the bio ball rolling by getting those upgrades, which is going to make your bio perform very well. Serral has his +1 Carapace on the way, but it's not ready yet, so Innovation's coming on in. This is a whack load of Marines here, going to be chasing down after these queens, picks off more and more of the queens, scanning to clean up some of the creep. There's Banelings. Innovation has to be careful. He's got to lift up on out of there. Gets out with most of the Marines. 8 a Baneling hit or 2. Almost focus fired down the Marines. He tried his best, not able to make it happen, though. And here goes... There goes those Marines going to be unloading. Innovation just keeping the pressure on. This is what Terran does, continuously dropping. I wouldn't be surprised to see Innovation potentially moving out with more drops later on. However, as this has been going on, Innovation, he's getting his 2-2 on the way. He's not focusing super heavily on the drops because they might be diminishing returns, and they generally are versus Zerg the later the game goes. So Innovation, he's actually powering up. He's getting his 2-2 on the way. He's made some tanks behind this, and Innovation is one of the best Terran players who goes for a lot of tank pushes. He's incredibly good at powering up, getting up a lot of bio, and just killing the Zergs mechanically. He's like, tanks in, you're dead. Serral, though, no slouch, going for a nice counterattack. You're getting these lings on, and it's no small amount. Innovation's been keeping the pressure on Serral. However, Serral now turning things around a little bit, gets 3 SCVs for a couple of lings, denies mining on that fresh 3rd base of Innovation. A nice trade there, and Serral also knows that this attack is incoming. We see he's made a lot of Banelings to deal with this, and when it comes down to Marine tank, it's rather fickle. It's tough to get perfect engagements. Innovation testing the waters. He wants to bait Serral into a bad engagement. Serral's pulling the trigger on this now. Innovation needs those tanks to focus fire. The Banelings gets some shots off. Gotta load up and get on out of there, though, as there's just too much Zerg. Serral dealing with that push and sending it back. He's got his economy going. It's looking rather good for him as he sends that push back. He can take a nice breath here, even though he was down on upgrades there, taking a nice engagement. He's got his 4th base up, as I said. Gonna have that good economy, all the hatches, and look at this. Whoa! Serral actually came out and picked off a tank there. I missed that. Innovation's not in any trouble of dying, I'd say. Serral's gonna keep on pushing, it looks like. However, Innovation, yeah, not quite getting as much damage as he wanted done there. We do see Innovation throw up a 4th base, which is good to see as a fan of Innovation. He's not just going to do something that the trap that Terrans sometimes fall into, which is like, all right, I don't want to play late game versus Serral. I've got my 3 command centers, that's all I'm going to build. I'm going to make as many units as I can, and I'm going to try and kill you. No, Innovation says, all right, I'll throw up a 4th base. He's getting up an extra factory to get extra siege tank production on the way. And then he's just dropping as this goes on. Marines trading out with these links, going to have to get on out of there. Innovation, though, we saw in that last game that he was confident to take it to the late game, which is a very impressive statement versus someone like Serral. Now, I'm going to be that guy who says it. Innovation, he had quite an advantage in that game early on. He never let Serral really catch his breath. He never let him hit that perfect late game composition. And so I'm going to be that guy who says, if Innovation takes this game late versus Serral, I mean, I talked about it in the last, like, it's dangerous going late game versus a Zerg like Serral. It's still just as dangerous, even though Innovation, spoiler alert, won that last game between them. I cast Serral going for a nice ling run by. He's not just killer in the late game like this, he goes for all these little counterattacks. That's what makes him such an amazing Zerg, picking off more of these SCVs. Ling's trying to just find some of these SCVs. Innovation, and the cute move, walls those Lings in so they can't actually escape. You know, insert that meme, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. But as this is going on, Innovation securing that 4th base, even cleaning up these rocks, maybe gonna plan for a 5th command center. There he goes. We should be seeing a Ghost Academy go up relatively soon. Innovation's just been continuing on with the small drops, powering up lots of tanks and whatnot. We should be seeing a Ghost Academy or something go up for Innovation though. Maybe additional starports. He's getting up the extra barracks. Sensor tower going up. He's got that 4th base. He's getting up the 5th. So that's quite a statement from Innovation, and he's rather comfortable right now. However, the Terran, they're going to become less and less comfortable when they think about what the Zerg's doing on their side of the map. Right now, Serral, he's getting up a hive, he's getting up his own 3-3, so Innovation's got himself a nice potential upgrade lead in the future. Well, however, that gap quickly swings in favor of the Zerg as the Zerg hive upgrades start to come into play. Adrenal Glands, for example, a big buff to Zerglings outside just the standard 3-3. Then eventually there's, say, Hydras, or pardon me, there's Ultras, there's Broodlords, which are the pinnacle of the Zerg late game, and then Serral even adding in the Vipers. Keep in mind this game, Serral's done a good job. He hasn't overcommitted to a ton of units or anything, which is something that's very important to note. He did that a fair bit in the last game, I believe, and just made a lot of units that weren't necessarily perfect for the time. Now, this game, Serral, he hasn't overcommitted. He hasn't maxed out just on Lingbane Hydra. He's traded out less efficiently than Innovation. However, his own economy is booming, so he's fine with that at first. The question is, as this game goes on, Innovation, he's committing to all this bio. Is that resources lost? I'm already talking about it, guys. We're 12 minutes into the game. I don't care. Is that resources lost going to start swinging in favor of Serral here? Nice drop by Innovation, by the way. Getting some more damage done. These drops, they pay off. The more you do early on, the easier it is later on in the game. These Lings coming on in. Banelings will eventually force this dropout. However, Innovation, nice drop on Serral, trading out with some units. He's going to continuously keep doing this as long as he's heavily investing in this biotech. As I was saying, though, we're heading into the full-on late game, guys. I say it every game. I'm a broken record here. It's just the whole resources lost dynamic versus Zerg. In the last game, Innovation managed to overcome that by taking up extra bases. He may be planning to do that this time. Look at that, though. Full Medivac goes down. Potentially 2 full Medivacs go down. There's those Vipers already starting to return dividends there. Innovation, though, he's got a pretty good economy going for himself. Neither of these players in the current state have to worry about immediate money. They've both got really good economies for now. They're going to start building up banks eventually. So worrying about money right now isn't the biggest deal in the world. Worrying about your plan for this entire game is, though. Innovation, he's starting to tech into these ghosts, getting up Liberators. That's what you want. You're not just going to make Marine tank Medivac until the end of time as a Terran player. You got to eventually go into something else. Now, Serral, as this has been going on, though, this is Automaton. This is a very easy map to split. Split map scenarios happen in Starcraft 2 when both players really max out. They get everything they want. Serral, he should be rather comfortable as long as he can secure his half of the side of the map. Looks like a tank or two actually got abducted there by the Vipers. Another tank getting abducted. Couple of Hydras eat some shots there, however, nice bit of damage getting done. Look at this, Serral using those Vipers. Innovation needed to place tanks to defend these mineral lines, but look at that. The Vipers getting some nice damage done there. No kills, of course, however. They have already got a lot of value. They abducted 2 Medivacs. They abducted a couple tanks. Resources lost still in favor of Innovation, however, as far as the scale of that, it's evening up already. I'm going to start talking about that, and we have to keep an eye on that. Innovation, he's investing in Vikings now because he knows potential Broodlords are on the way, which is something to be concerned. However, what I love this game absolutely out of Serral right now, by the way, he's taking a bit of a nasty drop here. He's going to have to react to that. Hydra's coming on in. Innovation going to try and focus down the Hive. I don't know if he'll be able to get that. No, he's trading out with the Hydra, so not going to be able to get that. Focus it down a little bit. Picking off Overseers, but that's it. Loses all the Marines and all the other units there. I was about to say, Serral, he's making 9 Broodlords now. Broodlords are basically the thing that forces Terran to make a certain set of units. You got to make the Ghosts and hope for great engagements and pickoffs, and then eventually you got to make some, you got to position your army right, and then you got to make Vikings, potentially. The thing that is important to note is Serral, he's already fired up a lot of infestors. That's what you want to do versus the late game Terran. If you're confident it's going to go into the late game, because Broodlords, the most valuable part of Broodlords is they win a lot of games, yes. However, the reason they win those games is because they force the hand of your opponent. They sort of make him panic. They sort of bring the game to its climax in a sense, unless it's going to go later. Which Serral, look at this, he's already getting up spores. He's learned from the last game. I believe these were played in that chronological order. So Serral, he's getting ready for this. Look at this, getting up spore crawlers, getting up tons of them, got energy building on these infestors. Look at this, just trying to pick off units with that free energy, starting to build that nice efficiency. He's not trying to push into innovation right now. He's secured a spore field. Why would he push into innovation? Innovation, on the other hand, though, he's teching into this later play like he did in that previous game I cast, in which he's getting up all these CCs. However, if you look at the timeline, Serral's a little bit more ready than he was in that previous game. Still got to be careful of innovation because he's a lethal man with his ghost tanks, Liberators, Vikings, you name it. He's got it. Innovation's trying to secure these other bases, though. However, this game, he's going to have a tougher time bullying Serral, if I had to believe. He may still be able to do it, which would be a true testament to his skill. However, Serral, he's getting more than ready for this, getting all the upgrades as the Zerg, spreading creep nonstop. I wouldn't be surprised as if he just throws on more and more static defense. One thing I'd like to see for Serral, I know, guys, I'm doing it, I'm talking about what Serral should be doing, and as I say that, I realize he's already got spines and spores in position in order to deal with these nukes. I didn't see them because they were a little bit more north, but that's exactly what Serral's doing right. He doesn't want to have to worry about nukes, spines and spores, fantastic defense versus that at spotting the ghosts, dealing with them. Innovation hasn't made a ton of Ghost Academies yet this game. He's just made the one. No plans on mass nukes this game. And that is something that's curious to point out. Innovation's now building an extra one. We'll see if he's going to do that, though, because nukes are a very money-heavy style, and Innovation may already be getting a feel for this game that he's not going to have as much freedom as he did in the other one. Serral's Nidus network just finished up, might be planning more counterattacks this game, and judging by these lings huddling around there, I'd say he is. But this game, we're already 17 minutes into it. Look at that. That Overseer's going north. He's got a mission. 2 missile turrets might be able to pick it off. However, the Nidus probably going to get called in. No, Serral actually not calling in a Nidus there. Busy moving his army down south. Meanwhile, Innovation now pushing on multiple fronts. Steps forward, picks off the Queens, which is a nice find. Gonna eventually have to retreat, though, as those Broodlords and Infestors are there. That sort of scary old age composition still pretty relevant these days. Now, Innovation stepping forward with Ghosts. Got to be careful to mine those Infestors. The Ghosts themselves versus Broodlords, they can make it happen. However, if you eat a nasty fungal growth or something, or Ghost stepping forward, get abducted, something like that, that's where it becomes a bit nasty. Innovation, he's made a ton of Liberators, which is helping him out. By the way, here comes in that Nidus. Just heard that sound just ever so faintly. Innovation, though, it's ringing loud and clear in his ears as all this Zerg is spilling into his main base. These Hydras and Lings, these are 3/3 units. The Hydras don't have the +3, but the Lings do. They still put out a fair bit of damage, and I wouldn't be surprised if Serral just sort of nopes on out of here. Yep, he's going to do just that. Get back into his Nidus ASAP, trading out with his bio. Not doing a bad job, actually. If it wasn't for the Medivacs, Innovation's bio would be in trouble, it would seem. We'll clean up this Nidus. However, Serral already doing a nice job versus Innovation. He's built himself a nice creep buffer. He is playing this game a lot better than the last one. Innovation, though, still getting up these nukes. Got 10 Ghosts. We'll see if he gets up any more of those. Here's another Nidus, though. Serral doesn't joke around. There's a Changeling that snuck its way in here. If you're wondering how Serral called in the Nidus, that Changeling gave him the vision. As this is going on, though, keep in mind these guys are doing a million other things. Looks like some Ghosts got a couple of snipes off. However, ate some parasitic bombs. There's that Nidus, a Marauder dealing with it, a lone Marauder. Nothing's coming out of that Nidus. They're only 50-50, I believe, though, for the Zerg, so not the biggest investment for Serral. And look at this, Serral, he's now managing to bully Innovation, which is incredibly good for him. Picks off the base. If the Terran's the one down on bases, it's rather scary to be the Terran in that late game situation. So Innovation's got to figure something out. Serral, by the way, look at all these Banelings. That is a lot of green. 43 Banelings. You got the money, spend it. If those can find those Ghosts at some point, that would be huge. This game, though, this is a fantastic TvZ. It's another one of those late ones. Another nuke being called in. I believe that's maybe the second. Might have been the first one. Anyway, I'm sure it's not the last one. Innovation building more and more of those. Calling in more and more of the nukes. Going to be trying to force this static defense away. One of those spores goes down to a nuke. Will these other ones back off for Serral? Innovation getting a drop on the bottom left here. Nice bit of damage done. That nuke should be landing. There it goes, hitting that static defense. Innovation, eye for an eye. He lost a base, yes. However, he did a fantastic job just picking off that base, dealing with some of the static defense. If you guys watched that last game, I know I'm drawing a lot of comparisons here. By the way, fantastic EMPs for Innovation. Sacrifices some ghosts, however, gets great connections there. Vikings and Liberators coming on in. These Vikings are trading out with the Corruptors, and I think the Vikings might be able to take this fight. They ate up fungal growth. The Liberators may need to unsiege to help out here. The ghosts are retreating. They load up into the medivacs. All the Banelings rolling forward for Serral. Innovation takes a nice fight there. As far as versus the air army goes, Serral has to retreat. Oh, look at those ghosts. They have to be careful. Serral just wants to find them with the Banelings, has to back on out. Innovation, though, found a weakness of Serral. He got the EMPs off, and he took a nice fight versus the air army of Serral. Serral, he's making 17 Corruptors this time, though. I'm not sure if he had that many that time. I believe he might have had a few less than that. He's trying to resecure this base, but look at this. These guys back and forth. Serral trying to deny this command center, not quite able to. Picks off a couple of SCVs, though. And both these players just playing at such a high level. And I didn't get to finish my thought because of that last engagement, but I'm drawing a lot of comparisons and sort of contractions here, just because compare and contrast, just because Serral in that last game, as he was in a bit of a rougher situation than this. Innovation, he's trying to replicate the same thing. However, keep in mind how many times Innovation, if you watch that last game, which I'm a little biased, but I dare say you should go do that. Innovation, he picked off bases left and right over and over again, and that really added up, and that allowed him to eventually take the game. Right now, he's trying to replicate that. It's a little bit more back and forth. It does give me hope for Innovation, though, the fact that he was able to take that nice anti-air fight. We'll see if Serral allows a situation like that to happen again. Innovation is being active with the bio, trying to find those locations. A nuke is being dropped just to back off the static defense, and then Innovation will probably try and nuke this base. There's a lot going on in these games. Let's take a look at the APM here. It's just so high for both these guys. Another nuke being dropped for Innovation. Look at that. He backed off the static defense, but he's dropping more of these. His goal is to create chaos, take good engagements, and to take, basically, he's creating the chaos so he can take the better engagements. A nuke on its own, not going to get a whole lot done. A nuke as Innovation steps forward to pick off the space once again, getting a bit of deja vu here as he's cleaning that up. A nuke being dropped on this base once again. That Ghost got himself a couple of kills. I'm trying to catch as many of the nukes as I can here. Innovation, though, picked off that base. Just denying Serral binding that. He might eventually be setting his sights on that to replicate what he did before, which is take one of Serral's rightful bases. Innovation is doing a good job too. He's pulling Serral apart. He's actually doing a fantastic job. I'm surprised he's getting this much ground. Got to be careful versus these Banelings and Broodlords. Picking off static defense. Innovation also in doing this. Oh, he's got to be careful though to avoid those Broodlords. Gets a couple of snipes off. The Infestors are the real threat to these Ghosts. Otherwise, the Ghosts and Vikings probably can take on this army. Nuke being dropped for Innovation. Serral's using the muscle of his army to push because he knows that his army, assuming he gets off the right spells, he can take this. Innovation stepping forward with the Vikings. Got to be careful though, eating some fungal growth. Parasitic Bomb and fungal growth is a nasty combo for Terran. Those Vikings lose a ton of their health there to one of each of those spells. Now Innovation, looks like he's got some more bio trading out. A couple of Broodlords sends that packing though. Serral is bullying Innovation. He's not just sitting back. Oh, those Liberators, though. Innovation accidentally nuking his own Liberator there. Got to be careful. Just trying to create as much chaos, sometimes a little bit too much chaos that he can't even keep up. Innovation kiting to the best of his ability with the Vikings. Gonna want to repair those as soon as he can in case some more of those spells land or in case a big fight happens. Sort of, you got to pull everything you got in that situation. As this game is going on, Innovation, he wants to force these Vikings off because he doesn't want to be the one who's getting bullied right now. But look at this, Serral rolling forward, Banelings chasing after these Ghosts. Innovation's going to have to split those Ghosts. He cloaks them to try and split them up. He's going to do just that. The Banelings won't naturally connect on them. Serral, a good player, can manually detonate them, though. They hit the bio. The Vikings are pretty much all gone, it looks like. The Corruptors have taken a lot of damage. The bases are starting to fall, though. The Ghosts, though, are now have free reign to step forward, except for the Infestors. Innovation's rallying a couple of the Ghosts in here. He's got to be careful, though. If he can't deal with this Broodlord threat, he's going to be in trouble. Landed EMPs on all the Infestors, though. He should be able to deal with the Broodlords now, able to make that happen. Repairs the Planetary and stays alive. Innovation managing to take that fight. It was looking a little dicey there as those Banelings rolled forward towards his precious Ghost. Innovation managed to make that happen, though. Serral pulling back the static defense, though. He's kept his economy going. That's the thing. Most of these players keeping their economy going. If I had to say, though, Serral's got an objective in mind. He's making 11 more Broodlords. He doesn't want to play that sort of tit-for-tat trading game. He wants to take out one of Innovation's bases right now, it would seem, and maybe push Innovation further so that he can win the game, because Serral's going up to 13 Broodlords, 14 Broodlords, and that's a very serious amount. That's not just the, oh, I have a few Broodlords, you have to respect these. This is the, I'm making a lot of Broodlords, and I mean business amount of Broodlords. So Serral stepping forward right now. Innovation has been happily mining in his base to the top left, which is very nice for him. Serral not able to secure this. Serral's sort of returning the aggression by pressing to the north side here. Looking at this, though, this game, it's been crazy, and it's been very close so far. Innovation, if he can, say, maybe keep denying this base, get some more drops or something off on this base, that would be absolutely huge, because as he starts to mine out his own bases, that's very important for him. He's dropping lots of mules on this base. He's had to fight tooth and nail to hold this base, so wanting to keep that alive. Serral, though, if he can secure this base, that would be very nice for setting him up later in this game, because Innovation has done a good job, once again, keeping the resources lost in his favor. Serral has lost 10,000 resources more, which is the sort of thing Innovation needs. Ghost and Nuke goes down, though. That hurts a little bit for the Terran. Viking stepping forward. Gotta be careful. Serral stepping forward with the Broods. He's got the static defense, though, in order to retreat. Innovation's dropping once again, though. This has been so important for Innovation. If he can deny this base, that's going to improve his prospects later on in this game, and he is going to get it once again. This TvZ, we're seeing similar patterns into the last game. Innovation picking off that base. Serral stepping forward with the Broods. He feels a little pressure right now, wants to make something happen because he thinks he can, and he very well may be able to right now. Innovation using the Vikings, picking off that spawning overseer, but a nice move by the Terran player, shutting down the space once again, keeping the pressure on Serral, making him uncomfortable. Serral's having a tough time responding to all of this from Innovation. Poor Spore Crawler goes down to a nuke there. Another nuke being called in for Innovation. He's using these tools effectively that he has, and I mean, there's always the chance that he can just land one of the big nukes. Versus Serral, I'm not going to say it's a highly likely, however, it's possible. Nuke goes off. Serral retreats his Spore Crawlers, though. Innovation looking for more locations to nuke. Look at this, though. Serral positioned Spores so that he can see these Ghosts no matter where they go. Innovation's like, I'll sneak past that Spore. Serral, nope, he's got one in there. We'll see if he reacts to this. A Viper may go and abduct that, maybe. Drones may have to run something. Serral busy dealing with a lot of things going on right now. He's already trying to mine in the left position here. He knows that it's important. He doesn't just want to be like, all right, I've mined out all my other bases and take that. Serral's like, yeah, I need that base. Oh, by the way, this Ghost. Looks like some drones were pulled versus the Ghost there. Innovation calling in another nuke. I love this position to avoid the spores at the back of the base. Might even kill that. There needs to be an overseer here to deal with that. I'm not sure it's going to get in there in time. I think this nuke's going to land. Looks like it will. I'm not sure it'll kill the base, though. Oh, it's close. That base is weak. Serral, he hasn't been able to counterattack this base to the top left, which is a little bit unfortunate because it is rather exposed. Innovation has been pulling Serral out of position. If Serral can maybe get a good number of Banelings up there, that would be absolutely huge for him, or even, I don't know what he could really do, but if he could pressure Innovation on his side of the map, that would be huge. Whereas Innovation, he wants to set his sights on this base again, running forward with a lot of bio. This auto-mounted 3-3 bio that Innovation is keeping with a couple of medivacs to support is forcing Serral to also invest in these Lings and these Banelings to deal with them, and it's just not working out well for Serral. Innovation's finding ways to take nice trades here. A couple Banelings and a few Lings here. Serral doesn't want to make more than this, yet he has to, and as a result, since he didn't, he's getting punished since he didn't have an answer to that ground army. The Broodlords are too slow. There wasn't enough Ling Bane. Once again, Serral lost 15 drones. Both players are falling down on workers. as this game goes on. Oh, look at this. Innovation running forward with the Marines, trying to catch a Viper. Got to be careful as that Ling and Bane is in tow to defend, but love it from Innovation, going for that kind of aggression. Serral, on the other hand, he's staying alive. Let's take a look at the resources lost, because for the Zerg player, I'm going to say it, that's the most important part. It's about 8k difference, 9k difference, which is, it's closing for Serral. However, if Innovation can keep this trading up to the very end, then in theory he'll win because he's being more efficient. Serral wants to even that up and eventually take the game in that manner. Now Innovation is retreating, though. Ghost getting snipes on the high ground. Trades out a bit of bio. Another nuke landing on this location, denying Serral's mining to the left. Nuke not going to hit anything as Serral reacts. This game is absolutely crazy, guys. I'm doing my best to keep up. And I hope you guys think I'm doing all right. We're now 30 minutes into this TvZ. So long Innovation has mined these gold minerals and can now walk in between. He's got himself a nice little land bridge. Innovation scanning for days thanks to all of his orbitals. Getting some nice snipes off. Looks like he picked off some high-value units there. Probably some Vipers. Innovation's playing a fantastic game so far. Just doing well with this late game. And he's making me start to believe, guys. Like, for a long time, we wouldn't see Terrans take a Zerg late game like this. We would see it every now and then, and it would be a big deal. However, Innovation's just doing this versus Serral, playing incredibly well. He's changed things up. He seems to have a solid game plan in mind. He comes on in with this bio once again. Lots of Marauders, lots of Lings. Look at this. Serral has Banelings, but he doesn't want to crash Banelings into all these Marauders, which Innovation will split. So Innovation going to take that base, nuking this location, is trying to pull Serral's attention again and again. He is out on the map with his Ghosts right now, waiting for a good pickoff, say if some of the Vipers or Corruptors wander forward, which is very sort of high risk, high reward potential. Look at this, another nuke getting queued up. An Overseer will come and finally clean up this Ghost. Ghost stepping forward, though, getting snipes on the Corruptors. Innovation's just playing a fantastic game so far. Resources lost, actually swinging further ahead for him, which is really important. He's denied Serral mining off the space, whereas Innovation is mining off of all of his bases. While this game has been closer, it's looking very good for the Terran player. Resources, or the income, is reducing for both players. However, Innovation, he's a little better situated as he's been mining all of his bases. Serral hasn't mined this other location. Vikings for Innovation still poking and prodding Serral. And it's just looking good for the Terran player right now. What a TvZ so far between these two players. I don't know how many nukes have gone down in this one. It's been a lot. I don't think as many as in the last game, but a fantastic Terran versus Zerg between these two players. And we're having a bit of deja vu with this crazy late game TvZ. Innovation's got to be careful. Eats a fungal growth there. Vikings splitting up, slowly retreating under that fungal. EMP is landing on the Infestors. Oh, one of those Infestors eats the Liberator. Blue Bloods come in, they pick off a Ghost or two. Ooh, gets for the Vikings. A nice find there for Serral. Every bit helps in this situation. Innovation coming forward with the bio once again. Just going to pick off the odd base here and there. I want to see Innovation mule this, by the way. Take those minerals away from Serral. Do it. Here comes Innovation. Banelings rolling forward. Innovation, good bio split so far. Serral's even invested in a couple of Hydras on the ground again, but it's still not enough to deal with this odd bio, and Innovation is just playing around the Broodlord. Serral, he's got 14 Broodlords to his name, but he insists on keeping them all clumped up here. Yeah, he insists on keeping them all clumped up, yet he isn't going to exactly say split them up there. Yeah, like one or two Broodlords maybe would help out defend that location. Of course, Innovation could maybe come in and snipe them as a possibility. However, the 14 Broodlords just sitting around aren't doing a lot. Maybe if Serral, say, so far invested in a bit more on the ground, a little less Broodlords, he'd be doing better, as he'd be able to shut down those bio armies better because he'd have more free supply. For now, though, Innovation scanning, denying this location, and this is where it's getting dicey for Serral. If you guys are saying, wait a second, that's Serral's base, Innovation is about to land on it, he's doing incredibly well for himself. He's looking to extend his lead in this game by being more efficient than Serral and adding insult to injury, taking one of Serral's bases. So he's being more efficient and he has more money. If you guys do the math, Serral's going to run out a lot faster than Innovation, and any mineral that Innovation mines off this is absolutely huge. If he has the energy right now, you drop the mules immediately, because if Serral somehow clears out this space, He'll still have taken money away from him. This is just looking fantastic for the Terran player once more. My voice is dying, but this is a great TvZ. Serral, he's just having a tough time dealing with this army. Innovation stepping forward with the bio. Look at this, just bullying Serral. The Broodlords are the only thing that really shuts this down. And Innovation, he's just, yeah, now the Broodlords are here to push it back. Innovation will probably just retreat. If he can pick off anything, though, it'll be huge for him. Look at all those Broodlings. Serral has 14 Broodlords, which is an absolutely huge... No, he's got 19. He made 5 more Broodlords, but he doesn't need them. The issue for Serral is this game, guys. I'm saying it. He's got too many Broodlords. Like, the difference between, say, 10 and 19 Broodlords, the Broodlord's power comes from shutting down that army on the ground. Yes, if there was an all-out fight, it would go better for Serral, because, say, the Broodlords would kill the Ghosts. However, Innovation, he's made so many Vikings. Serral, the Broodlord's strength comes from just the fact that you have the Broodlords. Looks like Serral's now splitting them up a little bit. He's got a couple down to the right here, which is good to see. He needs to try and split up these spellcasters, but look at this, another nuke going down. Innovation. His name should be written in this spot because that's where his ghosts are just living right now. Broodlords and Infestors do manage to shut down this bio. Serral, gotta be careful though. No spellcasters to support these Broodlords. Snipes going down on tons of the Broods. Infestors coming forward, but look at that. Innovation already retreating. Lands an EMP, gets some nice trades there. Picks off some of the Broodlords. Serral's spellcasters were not quite in position there. Innovation's doing well this game. And, yeah, just, the main thing is Innovation. He hasn't been taking direct engagements because he knows they'd go Serral's way most likely. He's just been pulling him apart, and Serral hasn't been able to defend those bases. Innovation's now mining off of this. Innovation's dropping tons of mules here. Eight mules, 1 per patch is what you want as a Terran. That's the fastest you can mine out a base. And Innovation is stealing Serral's money. Let's take a look at the income here. Yep, that's definitely in favor for Innovation. Serral has practically no income right now. His hand is forced. He's saying, all right, let's go for it. I'm going to try and deny you stealing from me any longer. Serral's just like, yeah, whatever. I need to destroy the space. I'm going to try and force that big fight. Innovation cancels the nuke, actually calls it in again. Just trying to force these Broodlords back. And the question is, has Innovation bought himself enough of a lead that he can take a big fight right now? And I'd argue yes. He's got 6k resources in the bank. As long as he takes an alright trade, he's in a fine position right now. And from the control that we've seen so far from Innovation, I'm not worried about him. Lots of liberation zones going down. At this point in the game, Serral really needs the Vipers to be abducting the Liberators, but he hasn't been allowed to play that sort of slow, stalemate game in which both sides are sitting passive that usually favors the Zerg, because Innovation's been doing all sorts all over at the moment. Ghost getting snipes off. There's some of the abducts going down. Serral's stepping forward, though. Rather risky. We should be seeing maybe a parasitic bomb or some fungals on these Vikings. That's absolutely huge. That's what Serral needs. A nuke lands. Both armies back off. More nukes calling in, though. Serral, I mean, as far as this situation goes, I think he can take this fight right now versus Innovation. He's got to avoid the nukes. There's no doubt about that. Looks like Innovation stepping forward. Serral has to shut down that Ghost. He manages to do it, so he no longer needs to worry about the Ghost. But look at that. Fantastic EMPs from Innovation. And as a result, Serral needs to sit back, build up more energy, as he doesn't have those Infestors really to cover himself. Fantastic EMPs. Queens eating Liberator shots there. Those white bolts shooting out and killing them. Now, Broodlord stepping forward. The Ghosts and Vikings on them, though. There's not a lot of fungal growth. The Vipers rebuilding their energy. Those Vikings are so clumped up if some parasitic bomb can go off. And there it goes. Innovation going to need to split those Vikings, doing the best he can. Serral's already lost so much, though. His bank is pretty much gone. He gets some good spells off at the end there, but, I mean, Innovation has just been playing so well here. Serral, he just hasn't been able to outplay Innovation in this fight. He's making whatever he can, but Innovation, more money, less problems. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Yeah, if money's more, problems are less. I think that's the general rule. And Innovation, with this extra base, he's fine. He's not sweating. He's been launching nukes for days, and he is dismantling the BlizzCon champion right now, just in this style. Now, we see Vikings coming on in, trying to pick off some of these Broodlords. Serral's army, a lot of his units are injured. He's been making Queens. That's what he can afford. But at this point, he really can't afford a hell of a lot, as he hasn't been able to mine off this base. Innovation, more efficient, more money. And yeah, this is just Innovation sort of revolutionizing TvZ, I'd say. I'm just sitting back and enjoying the view right now. Nukes going down left and right. Serral, he's going for a couple of Ling counterattacks. That's just desperation. Ling still kill off a missile turret or two. But Innovation, he's just bullying him right now. He's got room to play with. It's not bad for the Terran player right now. Army supplies are within reach of each other if Serral can take a miracle fight. Maybe get some good parasitic bomb off. Connects with some of the Liberators there. Nicely done. That's the damage. That's where the Zerg efficiency comes from, though. But the thing is, Innovation has just been trading out so well on other fronts that the Zerg nickel and diming with the spellcasters hasn't been working. Here comes in those ghosts. They're looking for something. Gotta be careful. Broodlings pick off one of the ghosts. Nicely done for Serral. If he can keep this up, then maybe he can claw his way back into the game. But I'd say he's honestly too far gone at this point. We'll see if he can do something. But Innovation, just with this army, Liberator stepping forward. Serral casting spells on them, though. Picking off a Liberator or two. Nicely done. Innovation is throwing away a bit of resources here. He can afford to do that, though. EMP is landing. Not hitting all the Infestors, though. Innovation. He's probably thinking, all right, maybe I can take a fight now, though. But Serral's Zerg army is still one heck of a nut to crack. 160 supply to 200. Still, Serral's army is no joke. Ghost stepping forward, though. Snipes landed on some of the Broodlords. Innovation, I'd say he's taking a pretty poor trade there. A lot of the ghosts do get out there alive. However, Serral just loses his spore crawlers there. Now being pushed off. And he's now got to retreat. Serral starting up a couple more spore crawlers in desperation. He wants to have that stalemate in which he can nickel and dime Innovation, but Innovation, he's just got so much room to play with. He has not been playing this game, by the way. He hasn't been playing the game that Serral wants. I can say this again and again. We're seeing Innovation now just face off versus Serral. Army versus army, because he's bought himself a nice lead from playing all around the map. Vipers, parasitic bomb going off. Vikings now stepping forward, though, wanting to get pickoffs as long as they're all right trades. It's gonna look pretty good for Innovation. Vipers coming forward, abducting a Viking or two. Nice parasitic bomb for Serral. Good peel off for Innovation, though. Nukes going down. Broodlings stepping forward. Serral probably going to have to retreat those spores, retreat those queens. Innovation, the noose is just tightening. Serral has no income, really. I don't even know what mineral patch he's mining off of. It's literally 0 now. There we go. He ran out of money. And, yeah, I think Innovation has just done it. Up on resources. His own bank is actually starting to run dry a little bit. His income has dropped substantially, too, but we see the amount of money spent at the end of the day favors Innovation right now. The Terran player stepping forward, though. Serral throws out a lot of fungals. Not a bad trade for the Zerg. Just even the Zerg efficiency, though, just not going to be able to be enough for Serral to come back at this point, I think. Maybe there's a miracle engagement or something, but here we see Innovation coming in at a pretty strong angle. The Vikings are really clumped up. Serral's not prepared, though. Vipers get EMP'd. Infestors, not enough energy, not in position in time, and I think it's just going to be a little bit too late for those spells dropping down. Good fungal growth going down on the ghosts of the Broodlords. They're picking off a lot of them, but nope, not enough. GG. Innovation takes it. Fantastically played by the Terran player once again. And guys, I don't know, I'm not going to cast the last game because I don't like to cast just like single games of the same matchup a ton, but Serral did take another game. It was a shorter game than this, so Innovation seems to have a grasp on the late game, whereas Serral really does excel at pretty much all other stages in the game. But I do want to talk about what happened this game. For starters, before I say anything else, if you enjoyed this cast, make sure to hit that like button, as shows me that, you know, you like awesome StarCraft 2 games. And otherwise, if you're new to the channel and you made it this far, 42 minutes into the game, I think that warrants a subscription, so feel free to hit that subscribe button, as I'm putting out new content somewhat regularly. And now I will dive into what happened this game, just because this is something that I've had an opinion on. Yes, I have opinions, believe it or not. I know some casters shy away from that, but I'll talk about it. For a long time in TvZ, up until now, pretty much since Legacy of the Void came out, ever since it was Zerg, Turtle to Ultralisks, and then the Terran will try and kill you beforehand. The game was balanced, but that's just the nature of it. Terran tries to end the game later. Zerg has an advantage in the late game. You can't really argue against that, but in Innovation, he's looking to change that by picking Serral apart. I want to say, If Innovation could say do this to Serral at say WESG or something, which is a tournament that's upcoming or ongoing right now, I'd say, all right, I believe this because Serral will have had time to process that game to maybe react. Or if Innovation can say play this style and win versus the other top Zergs, like say Rogue or Dark, then I'll say, all right, late game Terran can be done if you play at a high level like Innovation, the way he's doing it. I will not be sold, though, until I see this style work versus those other Zergs reliably, because I still have a feeling if a Zerg player maybe makes tweaks that Serral didn't make here, that it can still go pretty well for the Zerg. But Innovation is definitely bringing a new style forward, and that's why it's working versus Serral. He didn't approach this like a normal Terran who sort of just rides out into the late game. Innovation had a plan, and he played it pretty darn well. So regardless, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that little sort of tangent there. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.